Hey, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the Fascination by Album Surfboards. So the Fascination I've been riding is a 5.6 and it comes in at 5.6 by 20 by 2.5 and exactly 32.8 litres. So as you can see here looking over the Fascination, it's a little bit unique as it is an asymmetrical surfboard. So with this, a little bit different to other Asyms that we've looked at. The nose is a normal kind of looking nose, it's symmetrical, but as you come through to the tail, it has an Asym tail. Flipping over the board, it also has an Asym kind of cluster of fins. So it has a twin fin under your toes and it has a quad set that sits under your heels. So the Fascination is a kind of a fish kind of style board. It has a pretty gentle rocker throughout the board, nothing too aggressive, just kind of enough to keep you out of trouble. And then flipping over the board, it feels like it has, it feels like a bit of a single coming through the board and then maybe a double just in front of the fins here. It comes through the fins. And it feels like it's almost flat out the back of the tail. Maybe a little V, but quite flat. Nothing too kind of crazy going on the bottom. So I've had the Fascination here for quite a while now. I actually was in the States with my family. And I was up in San Francisco and I saw it hanging up in a shop there in Mill Valley called Prooflab. It's not normally a board that I would kind of be drawn to, but I just saw it there and I just frothed out and I was like, I've got to have that thing. I really want to check it out. I'd never surfed an Asym before. This was my first one that I got. And I just wanted to see how it go, and it was actually a pretty beautiful looking board, so I was keen to check it out. While I was over there, I was able to have some really kind of epic surfs. We drove further down the coast, and we got 2 days at Malibu. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with it. It's a long right-hand point break, and when it's good, it's really, really good. And I took this board out, had 2 days there. Waves were in kind of the 3 to 6 foot range, so kind of, you know, shoulder high to well overhead. And this board could absolutely do no wrong. Normally I look at these kind of fish style boards as something you surf in kind of grovelly or small or pretty average conditions. But this board had a lot more kind of performance to it. And I'm not sure if it was the Asym setup, which I was not familiar with, and it was quite new to me. But the thing could do no wrong. You'd take off on these really long running waves and it just had so much down the line pace and speed. And then you'd be able to kind of rip the thing into a turn or grab onto that quad set that sits under your heels. And it just felt like it could absolutely do no wrong. I had about 2 or 3 surfs across 2 days there riding this board. And every wave was just absolutely magical. And I came back from them just saying, look, I think I'm only going to ride Asyms now. I'm pretty keen to surf right-hand point breaks for the rest of my life as well. But the thing went absolutely mental. Also, while I was over there, had a few surfs down the coast a little bit at Trestles, in some kind of more punchy and shorter waves, rights and lefts. And the thing was mental. I mainly got right-handers, but on my backhand it felt really nice as well. I must say I've had a few Asyms now. I do prefer it on my forehand because people wrote some questions about some other stuff we looked at saying, can you go left on them or whatnot? You definitely can go right and left. The Asyms are designed, so this is shaped for a natural footer. So this has a longer effective edge on the toe side for a natural footer and a shorter effective edge on the heel side. But you definitely can go right and left on the board. But I must say, what I really enjoy about the Asyms, this and the other ones we checked out, is that feeling of the twin fin under your toe when you're bottom turning. It feels really free and it's really fast. And without that center fin of the thruster, it just kind of reduces some of that drag. While thrusters are great for control, nothing compares to them. It also kind of creates a bit of a drag from that center fin. But then when you get that bottom turn and that speed through that on that twin fin, when you can kind of jump into a bit of a wrap and put it on your heels and through a turn, the grip you feel is just awesome. And my favorite thing about riding quads is that grip you get through turns. It just feels like you're on set of tracks and you can do no wrong. And this has just the best of both worlds. So surfing those really long waves where you could do more than 1 or 2 turns was just absolutely epic, especially at Malibu on that point break. Where I live, we have really average waves. They're generally really short, you know, 1, 2 turns max if you're lucky. So to be able to get a board like this that had some really kind of performance characteristics and get in the waves with a bit of push, do more than one turn, was just absolutely epic, and I fell in love with the thing. In the fins, I've been riding, I was actually lucky enough, the guys at Prooflab were able to hook me up with this, is the True Aims. They do an Asym set. So what it is, it's the twin that comes from True Aims, which I believe is very similar to the MR twin that FCS do. And then flipping it over to the quads, it's the Tyler Warren quad set. And this felt really good. The twin felt perfect. Sometimes the quad under my heel would feel a little bit loose. But probably for 95% of the surfs that I had, this setup felt really, really good. I've also checked it out since I got back home with some Futures stuff, because I've got Futures set up. I've tried the EN twin fin in here, which is quite a large and stiff upright twin that Futures do, and also the T1, and they both felt really good. I've also tried the the EA quad set that Futures do in the quad, and also the Rasta quads. And a combination of all those fins has felt really good in this board. The Fascination sits at 32.8 litres, which felt absolutely perfect. It actually didn't have a volume on it, and I just did a bit of an arm test in the shop, which is what I kind of like to go on. I put on the arm, see how it feels. This is about 3 litres more than my shortboards generally are, but it felt absolutely perfect. It didn't feel too kind of big or bulky. I think if I'd actually seen that it was that big, I might have kind of steered away from it, but it felt absolutely perfect. Paddled into everything. It had so much speed and pace down the line. Had speed to burn. The thing was absolutely epic. Overall, the Fascination has been epic. I would say it would be for probably anyone to an intermediate to an advanced surfer. For a beginner, the board is it's easy to surf, but I think a lot of the benefits and characteristics of the Asym may be lost on someone with not so much surf experience. But someone who's probably ridden a few different boards, they've maybe been on twins, thrusters and quads, and you're an intermediate surfer, I think you'd enjoy this. It's a really unique feeling, and I think the benefits of it could benefit anyone. You're surfing kind of average kind of mushy waves through to some pumping point breaks where you can do multiple turns down the line. This thing is a lot of fun to surf. I've definitely enjoyed checking out the Fascination, and hope you get a chance to check one out too. Thanks so much for watching.